All right, guys, there we are. Preston and I are en route to the Caesars Superdome, LSU versus Florida State. 6:30 live on ABC. Kickoff, I think, was at 6:44. So they're going to have a healthy pregame show. But as a lot of you have known in the last hour, an outlet, I guess, and everybody went with it, that Jaden Daniels is going to be the starting quarterback tonight. Something I've known since Tuesday. But it's one of those deals where, like, when people tell you not to roll with it, you don't. And I'm assuming LSU said go with it, and somebody did. But either way, I don't think it was anything that anybody didn't already know or assume with a great deal of accuracy. And so, but we're set. Football season's finally here. Had a great group of games yesterday. Florida, obviously, that was a fantastic game. And so we're going to take some of your comments. We're testing out this en route drive to New Orleans. Of course, we're going to do a post game show the same way. We're going to try to go live as soon as we can after press conferences get recorded, player interviews, and then we're going to try and get in the vehicle and be with you guys live as soon as we can. So, what do you think, Preston?
Man, Notre Dame is 0-2 against top 10 teams without Brian Kelly. I guess Brian Kelly can't win the big game even when he's gone. So we'll see. He's going to have his biggest game at LSU yet tonight. Jaden Daniels getting the start, like you said. We both kind of knew about this a week. Keep those things hush as a courtesy. I'm looking forward to seeing him. You're going to have to get the ball to those athletes. You have to get yourself time to get to them, too. I think me and you talking about this, we both kind of agree, like, trench play is what's going to determine the winner of this game. I mean, because Florida State's got some guys getting drafted on both sides of the line. Are you going to be able to hold up to them? Based on what I've seen in fall camp and what you've seen, I think we both agree that both lines are going to be greatly improved this year.
I think so. Obviously, LSU's running game is going to get tested, and LSU's offensive line, of course, before the running game, that's what you need to make it go. Florida State has a pretty good defensive front. A lot of people think that's the strength of their football team, and we know that Brian Kelly is going to want to establish the run. What we've seen out of LSU trying to get tough yardage the last 2 years has been plumb embarrassing. So, guys, if you're enjoying the show, please hit the like button, share, and the whole 9 yards. That really helps us with the algorithm. And as always, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and you'll get alerted tonight as soon as Brian Kelly's post game gets posted. I'm assuming we're going to have Norvell and Kelly in the same room, so we'll be able to get both coaches back to back, much like we did for the national championship game. And then we'll have player interviews. We'll have all that loaded up. Brian Lazar is going to be also with us in the Superdome. He will have a instant analysis feature on TigerBait.com. If you're not a subscriber, go try us out for $1. You'll get all that. Preston's post-game story. And, of course, we're going to be blogging live from the game from the press box in our live game thread on the Tiger Den message board. So go subscribe. Today's the day to try it out for $1. And like I always tell you guys, choose the annual package for $99. You save you're getting 3 months free versus going monthly. It's less expensive, and we've expanded our coverage greatly on TigerBait. We're out at multiple high school games Thursday and Friday night, and I've got more. I got some really good stuff coming tomorrow on Trey Des Green. We were out at East Feliciana, West Feliciana. The 6'6", 6'7" wide receiver, and he's also a whale of a basketball player. He is one of the more interesting prospects in the country, and really is buying. He's in your top echelon of guys that you're talking about for the class of 24, as far as the elite players in the state of Louisiana. I think the recruiting pressure on him is going to be immense. So,
speaking of recruits, you went and saw Caleb Jackson the other night.
Yeah, he looked really good. As good as he could with zero offensive line. He got injured, sprained his ankle. And something was very notable to me was seeing Frank Wilson there. We saw Joe Sloan at the Feliciana's game on Friday night. That is very notable, guys, because and I'm not taking a shot at the old staff, and because every time you say something like this, somebody's going to send me a message, possibly, But the previous staff, they did not get out to a lot of high school games. we were out every week. It was very rare that we saw LSU coaches at high school games the last year or two. Certainly 2 years ago was COVID, but I think it's absolutely fantastic because, and even Les Miles, believe me, if it was the Florida State game, I don't think Les Miles would have had assistant coaches out. So I again, to me, this shows that Brian Kelly is not paranoid. He doesn't have his assistants staying in the building till 10, 11 o'clock at night if the work was already done at 6 or 7, just because he feels like, if he sends them home, he's leaving something uncovered. That's how you wear staff out and have bad morale. And I want to say Frank Wilson did get up to Homer Friday night to see Trey Holly. I think that was the plan, but I know there were other coaches out, but those are just the ones at TigerBait that we saw because we were out and about. So
Trey Holly tweeted out some highlights. He looked pretty sharp too.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Bottle rocket out there, man.
Absolutely.
And who else had a night last night was Friday night. Kyle Parker. Did you see what he did?
Yeah, absolutely.
23 catches, the most in Dallas Fort Worth area history. I mean, 311 yards, 3 touchdowns, and they still lost.
Kudos to Coach Hankton for wrapping that guy up.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say, 5-6 months ago, he was a 3-star by some people.
Yeah, no doubt.
What does that tell you about LSU's evaluations? I remember reaching out to some Texas guys who cover the Aggies and the Longhorns, and they kind of downplayed that kid. I think they're singing a different tune now.
Well, he only had about 650 yards. So kudos to the evaluation staff for catching that before that fire was lit up. This very well could be one of LSU's better receiving recruiting classes, particularly like out of state. You just hope you hold on to those guys because you don't want that 2020 cycle where you lose, all those guys on signing
Railroad
day.
tracks, we're going to bounce guys.
That's not as bad as the LSU ones, though.
Yeah,
but you're not going to get hit as bad because these guys more have LSU ties. Jaylen Brown's going to be at the game tonight, by the way. He says if you see him, LSU fans, say hey. We got a really good comment here from Fat Batman Plays. It's too long for you to read on that tiny screen. What are your thoughts on LSU's revamped offensive line? What will they do after seeing them during camp? A lot of players, a lot of experience, a super freshman, think they'll surprise. I'm going to tell you, offensive line surprised me when I went to practice. I thought the defensive line would be more dominant because we know what those guys are, what they bring to the table. But the offensive line kind of beat them for the most part, which kind of caught me off guard.
And I know in one of the scrimmages, the offensive line beat the defensive front. So
yeah.
I'm not going to say they're a Joe Moore watch list offensive line, but I've thought all along for months, even before they got out there, just personnel-wise, that they were going to have some options and they were to get together. I think the biggest question has always been center. Of course, Garrett Dellinger wins that job. And so there you go, guys. We're getting on I-10. We're past Rufino's up. We're getting on at I-10 at Highlands. So I guess we're about 90 minutes out with traffic.
90, man. Maybe if you drive like your grandma.
Well, it depends on the traffic.
Yeah, we'll see. But I personally expect this offensive line will be one of the most improved units in the country. That's just my personal opinion. If you have any questions, get them in. Is this the pregame show? This is our pregame show. Let's see here. I hope Will Campbell didn't get hurt too bad. Anything on that? I didn't see anything on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not understand what's going on there, but
a lot of score predictions. LSU fans predicting LSU will win big.
I'm 31-14 LSU.
It's bigger than me. I got about 26-17. I think you're going to see both offenses stall in the red zone a good bit. But I like LSU with the veteran quarterback.
First score, who's your first scorer? Who scores the first touchdown for LSU?
Jaden Daniels throwing to Malik Neighbors.
I've got Noah Kane on a run.
It's probably.
I've got Noah Kane on a run, but my second would be Jaden Daniels. And probably him throwing.
Chris Moss asked, do you think Neighbors goes off?
I do. I think he had a fantastic camp. Jeray Jenkins had a fantastic camp. We know Besh is now healthy. Bute's healthy. Ryan Thomas. There's just so many options there. But I want to see Mason Taylor. I want to see what he looks like as a true freshman. And of course, I think probably my biggest question going into today is, or the worry spot is field goal kicking. I want to see what Ramos can do.
Yeah.
That is going to be so vital with so many games on the schedule that are pick 'em, low point spreads.
Yeah.
That could be a difference between going 7-5 or 9-3.
Of course, Ramos, the kicker, is the biggest spot. Even listen to Napoleon's quote on him about, LSU fans have been spoiled, right? I mean, and then saying we can't expect that. He's kind of setting the bar low. So I think kicker's a worrisome spot. Outside of that, the one position I'm most concerned of from your 22 guys, your center. Dellinger, I don't think him as a blocker is going to be a problem, but we saw him struggle with the snap. Can he make the reads he needs to make as a center? Can he keep his center gravity low enough to play center? Just a lot of questions. I expect he'll answer them, but we just don't know yet.
Any more comments or questions?
Let's see here. People sleeping on Jack Besh. I think the receivers all are going to shine tonight. I think it's going to be a nice little coming out party. It'll be interesting to see who gets the lion's share of grabs.
I think it's going to be one of those deals where you see, okay, and what down in the distance, which receivers are on the field, which receivers are on the field in obvious passing downs. Who are your receivers on the field when it's 3rd and 4? Is that when Jack Besh comes in and because he's so valuable on a quick slant, sure-handed. I think it's going to be one of those deals where when we get back tomorrow and watching the game on our DVR, really breaking it down as to how the personnel groups and what the route trees were for each guy and how they utilize them. Hopefully we're not in the post game tonight getting after Denbrock for play calling.
Who do you think the top 3 receivers are going to be on this team? It's a very tough question, I think.
Is it is a guy like Brian Thomas? Does he break into the top 3, or is it Neighbors, Jenkins, Butte?
Well,
who's the next guy up?
I personally think we're going to see Butte, Neighbors, and then Besh. But I think that 3rd spot's going to get rotated more.
Man, I think there's so many guys that could be your 3rd leading receiver between. So you're putting Besh ahead of Jenkins?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's so reliable. I mean, he caught every single target in the spring game. I know he's been nicked during fall camp to channel my inner Les Miles there, but he's just so good, so reliable. I think where you get in trouble with that is you got really 3 slot type players.
I think that depends on down distance though too.
So I think Brian Thomas will sub in a lot because he's a true outside receiver. So he'll probably get a lot more play time, even if he might not be the better receiver of those 3. But man, it's one of those things until you get the real dress rehearsal, you don't know how things are going to click. People are asking about tight end. Don't sleep on the tight end. He loves tight ends. We see Mason Taylor playing today. I think the emergence of Mason Taylor really opens up Brian Kelly to do what he wants to do. Like he wasn't really, with just one tight end, he can't do what he wants to do. He wants to run that 12 personnel. He wants 2 tight ends out there. Well, now you've got both those guys doing their thing, and we know what we got with Jack Mashburn. He's a baller as a blocker, but is he, the athletic playmaker? I think you've got 3 tight ends you could look to. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Put another question or comment up there, and then after that, go ahead and roll our title sponsor.
Our sponsor. All right, let's see here. Try to screen a little bit here. This looks good. This is LSU first game with a new coaching staff. Florida State has athletes. Do you think the refs will let them play as both teams will be aggressive? Just you never know with refs, man.
I did not see who the crew was. Was that in the release? I should know that.
We'll check that.
I'm assuming maybe it's like a Big 12 crew or something like that.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. There's gonna be some, what's the over under on how many penalties LSU has? I asked that to Buddy the other night, and he thought 50 or 60 yards.
About 5, yeah.
I think it might be more than that. I could be wrong.
Well, you would hope with Brian Kelly.
If it's less than that, then boy,
you really hope. The point of bringing a Brian Kelly.
Well, look, you can have some very talented, well coached teams that average 90 penalty yards a game. Yeah. We've seen it in LSU's history.
Well, the other thing about penalties is sometimes really bad teams have low penalties and really good teams have high penalties because they're just playing more aggressive. Because if you're getting penalized twice, you probably got away with it 6 or 7 times. That's just reality of it. So how aggressive is this team playing? It's one of those. I hope the refs let them play. A lot of stuff. I saw a lot of candy calls over the weekend. So we'll see. You want to give Kenny a shout out?
Yeah, go ahead.
Board-certified family law specialist Kenneth P. Haynes is a highly skilled and experienced trial and appeal attorney with over 33 years of experience solving real legal problems for real people, specializing in all aspects of family law, divorce, support, custody, and property. Your standards are high, so are ours. For representation in Northwest Louisiana, call attorney Kenny Haynes at 318-222-2100.
Kenny Haynes, he is the unofficial official lawyer of TigerBait.com, and he reserves the right to think most clearly for a paying client. And we thank Kenny Haynes for being the sponsor of our pregame today and our postgame. And so he's getting double dipped today. He's doing both of them for us. So big thanks to him. And, of course, he'll be sponsoring our postgame tonight. Guys, I see we got a pretty good crowd in here. Do us a favor, please share this live pregame to your Facebook wall, your Twitter, and of course, hit the subscription button, the notification bell. Big thanks to all you guys for doing that. We've had an amazing month of growth on our TigerBait YouTube channel and many new subscribers on TigerBait.com. And we thank all of y'all for being a part of our TigerBait family.
All right, we got some comments about the show. American Patriot, who we all like, he's around the show. It says I need some glasses. Guys, I got to press the buttons. I have to read the screen here. He's driving, so I can't put on glasses here. Nice leather seats. You know what this show kind of reminds me of? You remember the Sonic commercials? You got the 2 guys in the car. That's kind of the energy. I even got my Sonic cup here. That's the vibe we're going for here today, guys. 2 guys talking sports, eating some Doritos. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. Someone commented about the Nuss bus. We can see Nuss tonight?
I mean, is it groupthink, guys, that all of us in the media keep saying? But the always the next word sentence is, well, Jaden Downs, we expect Jaden Downs to be the starter. And then the next phrase is almost always, but I think both will play. Is that because you're wanting to hedge your bets? I don't know. I think everybody in the media has been saying that for months. Whoever the starter is, 2 guys are probably going to play. Or if it's not Jaden Daniels and Nuss wins the job, or months ago, Brennan wins the job, they'll obviously have a package for Daniels. I don't know. If we're a game where it's trading scores and field position and it's 14-14 and 21-20, do you play around with that if your quarterback's not hurting you? So I don't know.
My thought has been on this the whole time. I've been telling people, once I kind of realized watching practice that Jaden was going to be the guy. Once you go out there and you see it in person, you understand the talent the other 2 have. But it's Jaden's team. I believe that – checking out that comment. I believe that if he's playing well, A, and B, the game is close, don't turn away from the guy with the hot hand. Don't go out there and play with someone else just because you like your toy back there and you want to run him out. Not against Florida State. Against Southern, I get it, right? But remember, Ogeron did that a lot during his tenure. Remember Troy? They put in Miles Brennan as a true freshman, even though Danny Etling was playing fine. They lost that game. But Miles Brennan went out there and threw a couple picks. So I'm just saying, if he's playing well and it's tight, stick with your guy.
When is Baton Rouge Coca-Cola going to sponsor this show? Every time I do a show, I'm drinking a Diet Coke. I want to get paid for that.
Well, I got a Coke Zero on my show every Tuesday. So, yeah, man, we gotta. So, if someone has any connections, hook us up with that, man. I would love a Coke sponsorship.
Yeah, I wake up every morning to a Reign caffeine drink, too.
Oh, you saw Brian Kelly now has a Coke sponsorship.
Yeah.
He's got the whole Nick Saban Coca-Cola on the bottle.
Yeah.
And I don't think – in 12 years, I don't think Nick Saban has touched that Coca-Cola, but it's there. Let's see here. Michael Hooks, if Daniels throws 2 INTs, Nuss comes in. Well, that's the first part of what I was saying. If he's playing well, if he's struggling, you have a guy right behind him. The leash is tight.
Unless he's really making bonehead mistakes and turning the ball over. If you're in a hard-fought game and he's moving the offense and, it's 2 teams that are getting after each other, I would not pull a quarterback.
Yeah, and the thing is about Jaden Daniels, it's never been about really his decision-making as much as his accuracy. And, of course, his surrounding cast was great his final year at Arizona State, but it's more so can he get it there? It doesn't look pretty, but what you realize in practice, it gets the job done. Both the other quarterbacks look prettier when they're throwing the ball, right? But he's getting it done, man, and what he brings with his legs is going to help him throw because you have to spy him. You have to adjust him. You have to do some outside zone flat coverages. And they know that. So if he can attack the middle of the field well, which he did not do well at Arizona State, but if they can coach him and get him there, watch out, man. Watch out.
Any other good comments or questions?
Let's see here. All right. Let's see. Someone said that was a cheap shot at Notre Dame for going 0-2. Let's see here. I think the game will be close in the first half, and LSU will blow it open in the second half. I've heard a bunch of people say that. Have you been hearing that a lot?
Carl the Cat Dunn. I see him in there.
Love Carl Dunn. I ran into him the other day at 7-on-7. Love LSU fans. Game haven't kicked off yet, but they're looking for a guy to fail or struggle unreal. Yeah.
I would love nothing more than to say, you know what, all spring and off season, we talked about how Jaden Daniel didn't throw the prettiest pass or he was the least accurate. I would love for him to prove everybody wrong. And by the way, you don't have to have a pretty ball to be accurate. So
right, that's the thing. It doesn't have to look
and I think that's a part of the reason why he's the starter is because he's effective. Yep. I think the key word in describing Jaden Daniels is effective.
That's right.
And so let's hope he's crazy effective tonight for LSU because look, all season long you had your Brennan camp, you had your Nussmeier camp, you had your Jaden Daniels camp, although Jaden Daniels probably had the smallest camp just because he was a newcomer. But we ain't playing favorites. Whoever the best quarterback is, let them be the guy.
I mean, honestly, I know you guys have probably heard this from every source. We don't care. We really do not care in the least bit who the starter is. Wilkie says he wants to go to the game with us. If y'all see us at the game, give us a shout out. I can't promise you a seat next.
Yeah, they were the guys. I don't know if you can see it hanging back there. I got a sport coat. Evidently, the guys who cover the Saints, and I remembered it. I didn't remember Preston did, but there's the press box can loop all the way around into the corner where we were at for the national championship game. We were kind of like maybe on with the 10-yard line.
They put us in the Clemson fans.
And man, it gets cold up there. If you're a member of the media, the air conditioning vents in the Superdome blow right at you. So in the press box, it could be getting the 50s. So yeah, I would normally be pulling out a sport coat in Labor Day weekend. But evidently we're told that you can freeze up there if you don't have a jacket.
I got 2 jackets tonight because it was that cold for the national championship. I'm playing around, so I don't know what I'm going to look like in the game, y'all. Let's see here. A lot of people saying they think Daniel's going to have a solid night tonight. People saying he heard he has a good deep ball. He does have a good deep ball. Let's see here.
I tell you where he's devastating, guys, and we saw it in practices and in the scrimmages that we were allowed to go to, where we were able to shoot the first 30 minutes and then turn our cameras off and then stay the rest of the time. When they have design runs for him, he is a blur. So all that stuff about him running over 21 miles an hour, that is absolutely devastating for a defense.
No doubt.
I can't wait to see the design runs for him. Or when he's got the opportunity, when it's a passing situation, and maybe he doesn't see something that he likes, and he's able to take off and run and get to the to the marker on the sideline. That is just an absolute backbreaker for defenses. So,
well,
I think he's going to do that. I think he's going to do that multiple times.
And I talked to his mom, and his mom is adamant. He doesn't want to be known as a running quarterback. He's not a runner,
but he
can run. And the fact of the matter is, when someone can run like that, you have to accommodate for it. You have to adjust, and that helps you pass it. So it's multidimensional. Here's a very important comment. Alyssa Guy.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you're driving the speed limit.
I'm going 64, guys.
We're good.
If I wasn't talking, I'd probably be about 70. What is the speed limit right here? 75?
It's 70, so we'll say 7.
Yeah, I'd be about 73.
I don't want our YouTube video getting shut down here, Mike. Let's see. Who are the offensive and defensive MVPs tonight? Are they giving those out? Maybe.
No, I don't think they're doing that in the dome. But
I mean,
if you're saying at the end of the night who we think the stars are going to be, man, that's
Noah Kane is going to get so many carries. That's a safe bet.
I don't know, man. You initially want to say, well, who's the best player? Well, you're going to go Kayshon Boutte. But is there a chance of Malik Neighbors, has an 8 reception, 160-yard game or something and 2 touchdowns?
Definitely. 100%. It's just so hard to say.
And on defense, everybody, I'm really looking for Jaquelin Roy to have a breakout.
Mason Smith, though.
Mason Smith, too. But everybody looks at Mason, and I think Jaquelin, having ran into him and talked to him, I think he's as motivated as it gets. So, but, it could be Allie Gay. And then I want to see Savion Jones rotate in. I want to see Jacoby and Guillory.
Right. We haven't even touched the linebacker.
I want to see Wingo. The transfer corner's the starter from McNeese. On the depth chart. That was a concern. Is it going to still be a concern after tonight?
Is Bernard Compers fully recovered? We saw him a couple months ago, and he looked really good.
He's a beast.
And he's big, by the way. He's
Major Burns and nickel.
Yeah. Someone asking, Lamar Jackson type speed on Jaden Daniels. I don't know if I'd go that far.
What did Lamar Jackson run at the NFL Combine?
I mean, I could look it up quick. I don't know, but I would say Jaden Daniels 4.45, 4.50 maybe. It's up there.
It ain't probably. I don't know.
I doubt he ran it at the 4. All right, Lamar Jackson ran a 4.34 at Louisville's speed day. All right.
Yeah, you got to watch out for those.
I know you do. But it gives you a ballpark. Unless it's laser time, it's plus or minus 0.1. That's the way I look at it.
All right, get some more comments.
4.5 is what Jaden Daniels runs according to a high school combine.
I think when he's coached up and it's time to go to the NFL and he spends 90 days working on his 40, I think that guy could blister the track. I really do. And, a lot of football players don't know how to run the 40 or 100 meters.
Right.
And so when they train specifically for that with speed guys and those months leading to an NFL Combine, there's some guys. We've seen it time and time again. Guys that we know were probably 4.5 or 4.6 guys go to Indianapolis and run a 4.4.
Someone says, "Put your seatbelt on." You got your seatbelt on?
Yep.
We're not breaking the law tonight. Our YouTube will be taken down if we disobey the law. Let's see. Seven Banks, is he playing tonight? I'm foggy on that.
I have not heard any reason why he wouldn't.
Let's see here. Someone said, Mark Cumbie saying Lamar ran 21 miles an hour, so James running 22.
Yeah, but what does that equate to in 100 meters, 200 meters?
Well, and how does it equate to football speed? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, both of them have football speed. A lot of
just got passed by a Sequoia with Seminole flags.
Yeah. I heard Florida State was kind of taking over Bourbon Street last night, but my thought on that
they think, man, we're all the LSU fans. They just think they own the town.
Well, they have to hotel it. They have to, make it a day trip. Yeah. Like how many LSU fans are surrounded by us right now?
The sprinkling weather's probably changed things, but
a lot of people taking shots at Brian Driscoll in the comments. I think I'll just respectfully pass those on. Let's see here. A lot of people comparing Jaden Daniels to Michael Vick. Guys, we put some lofty comparisons on him. I mean, the dude can run. He certainly can run.
And Jaden Daniels is good with animals.
tonight.
He likes dogs. You know,
What's your source on that?
I just know he does.
Is it the same source that your boy Gilbo's reporting Napier wanted Florida more than LSU last night?
Did he say that?
Yeah, he said that, dude. He stirred the pot so bad.
Dude,
He's saying LSU.
dude, do you know how bad Napier wanted the LSU job?
I love Gilbo. He's funny, but he does love to stir the pot.
Yeah.
How does special teams look for us? Well, Hunter, you got about as good a transfer as you could possibly get.
Yeah, he's
You're going to look solid there. And you know you've got enough athletes.
and by the way, he's the former high school quarterback as well. And he's your holder on special teams.
Yeah, Bramblett's a really good guy.
Don't think something doesn't get dialed up down the line.
Yeah, I'd say place kicker is the one where you're looking like
Ramos is the only one I'm curious about. And of course, we've also been spoiled with Avery Atkins over the years. And are we going to see a guy who can get it out the back of the end zone on kickoffs?
We're expecting Malik Neighbors to return kicks. What stood out to me, I did an interview with Brian Polian, special teams coordinator, before the season. And he told me, I asked him if he wanted to block punts like he did at Notre Dame and block kicks, because LSU hadn't really been big on that. And he kind of smiled and smirked with that sense of just confidence, wanted to say something without saying. He goes, well, when you have athletes like you have at LSU, you might not want to block that kick and put the ball in their hands instead. Just throwing it out there. He seemed to be pretty confident about his return game. Let's see here. People saying Goodwin and Neighbors kick returners. Goodwin for kick return. Yep. Did you see a kick return at practice? I didn't. I didn't see that information.
No.
Let's see here. Can't wait to see Mike Jones, Greg Penn, and Baskerville play tonight.
Yeah. A lot of people wondering if Baskerville's moving up, and but certainly Mike Jones, who's everybody's favorite interview. They keep rolling Mike Jones out because, I mean, you think about it. Who's been a better interview than him in the last 10 years?
Did you know Mike Jones is one of two players in this game who played in that national championship? Mm-hmm. He played for Clemson against LSU in the national championship.
Yep.
So it's funny how fast these things move. You know who we did mention on the linebacking core, who I'm probably most excited to see, but we might have to wait a couple drives? Harold Perkins. Harold Perkins looks like a beast, man. I mean, I'm telling you, he's got like that same energy around him you saw of guys like Patrick Peterson or someone like that in the preseason camp. Yeah, he's not your starter, but he's turning some heads. That means it's only a matter of time. Let's see here. I mean, not to compare to Lockley, just Patrick Peterson. What's up?
Big.
Any comments? Let's see. Can't wait to see JD hook up with Boutte for an 80-yard bomb. Yeah, we'll see. It'll most likely be like an inside slice.
I think Florida State's defensive backs are going to be miserable tonight.
I think
they're going to have a tough time.
See, if you have any questions, man, get them in.
And by the way, the whole iron sharpens iron. There's no chance that LSU's defensive backs aren't feeling like they're almost kind of getting a bit of a day off, because Florida State's wide receivers are comparing in no way to the receivers they face every day in practice.
I'm going to be honest. I watched the Ohio State game last night, and I thought LSU's receiving corps stacked up pretty well with theirs based on what I've seen in fall camp and based off what I saw against Notre Dame last night. Yeah, they're very talented and all that good stuff, but, man, I don't know. LSU might be right up there with them. American Patriot says he's been following Jay Daniels since 2019. Remember, 2019 as a true freshman at Arizona State, he played very well. I mean, very well. It was like, I think it was 17 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. People thought he was going to take Pac-12 over. He played very well when he had talent around him. He did. Remember, Oregon was on their way to the college football playoff in 2019. And Jay Daniels took him down. I think he hung like 400-something yards on Oregon. He broke them in 2019 versus Florida State. He dominated against Florida State. That's another game I forgot about. So some good experience he brings in. How many sacks will LSU defense have tonight?
Oh, man.
It just depends. They got a good offensive line at Florida State.
It'll be a normal game. I don't know. I don't know.
I want to say,
These offenses these days, it's more about, hurries. How quick can their quarterback get rid of the ball? The main thing these days is you're judging by hurries and altering ball. It's one thing I was saying the other day on our show was with LSU's height across the defensive front, and they can be multiple. They can have four guys down. Do a four-man front. Look at the length of every guy on that front. Their height, their arm length. I mean, if they really work on it or focused on it, I think LSU could be a batted ball machine. I think they need to get their hands up because, Mason Smith, Jaquelin Roy, Ali Gay, all these guys have length.
Yeah. I said the first time in a couple of years, you not only have good guys on the field, but you've got a lot of players who won't be on the field every play, who can play some good football. Over under 1.5? Where are you going? Sacks.
Oh, I go higher than that.
I'm going to say about 2. 2 is where I put them.
I was thinking 4.
4. Man, if they get 4 sacks tonight, it's going to be a massacre. That is because for every sack you're getting, how many times are you in his face? At least 12. That'd be wild. Let's see here.
See what Matt House dials up.
If it
ain't necessarily coming from your defensive line.
If it comes down to the special teams, is LSU kicker capable? No one knows.
We don't know.
No one knows, man. We're not going to sit here and pretend.
That's a scary position to me.
I'll tell you this: Dybert isn't the kicker, and he was pretty highly recruited. But we know freshman kickers typically, there's a learning curve there. So we'll just have to see, man. Look, it's a roll the dice. Your guess is good.
I would have liked to heard that Dybert was more of a factor, even if he's not the guy.
Yeah.
The fact that he went a good while before Kelly even mentioned his name through camp, that's kind of, I just knew Dybert would be a guy based on his accolades that you would at least be saying, man, that guy might push for the job.
Well,
and really that was expected.
Brian Polian is intentionally not playing his hand here. He's kind of, smirking and not telling you much about his kicker battles. Like, who's got the better leg?
Oh, and is he poor mouthing? Is he doing a Lou Holtz or
setting the bar low?
Where he's saying, you guys have been spoiled with your last 2 kickers? Is that because he's setting the table for you to dial back expectations because it's shaky, or he knows he's got something special, and you're going to have 3 great ones in a row?
All right, Saf Adams. Am I the only one super high on Matt House?
No, you're not the only one.
I think most.
If you remember when LSU. What was the guy's name in Kentucky?
The guy who's there now?
Yeah.
Oh, man, give me a second.
And his name was in there, and talking to Kentucky people, they were like, man, they would go get him because they wanted to go back and bring Matt House back because Matt House is like a legend up there.
That's literally what all my Kentucky people told me is if they lose him, they want to go after Matt House because they think he's actually better. Look, Matt House, he coached in 2 Super Bowls and an AFC championship. And those were his 3 seasons there at the Chiefs. Like, he clearly elevated that defense, no doubt. So, Brad White was his name.
There you go.
White. So, yeah, I think he's good. It does make me a little nervous. He hadn't called plays in 3 years, but the last time he did call plays, he had Josh Allen in that really good Kentucky defense that hadn't been able to match since. Let's see. Is Jordan Jefferson starting tonight? Let's see here. Have you heard anything about Matt House's son?
Super chat.
I've got a super chat. American Patriot. Let me get down to that.
Big thanks, American Patriot.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Which offensive and defensive player need to step out tonight for a win? You go first.
It's a given with your offensive line as a whole, but I think you need to. It would be really nice if whether it's Noah Kane or Amani Goodwin that you have a running back that's just really gashing Florida State a bit for. So I don't know if you have to have that, but I think that's something that Brian Kelly wants. He's an offensive line guy. He believes in a power running game. I don't want to. If you're an LSU fan and if you're Brian Kelly or his staff, I don't think you want to come out of a Florida State game moaning over the fact that the running game was still didn't get uncorked, or it was below average.
Yeah.
So I think it bodes well for the future and the rest of the season if the offensive line does their job and one of those two running backs, and even Josh Williams, that those guys get some yardage.
I'm gonna go ahead and say for offense, this one's easy. Quarterback. I mean, it doesn't even matter which one, but yeah, I'll go ahead and say.
But I think that ties into your quarterback play. The running game. Again, the running back, the LSU's rush game the last 2 years has been pathetic. Outside of one or two games, that's got to get better.
Yeah, quarterback is the no-brainer for me on offense. Defense is tough because you've got a lot of new faces and a lot of guys who have played as consistent, a lot of guys coming off an injury, and you really just need collectively all 11 guys to play as a unit. If I had to pick one, I mean, DJ Ojolari needs to, be consistent with his pressure, be a leader. Same thing with Ali Gay. I mean, both those guys have been good, select down pass rushers. They need to be consistent down in and down out. So that's what I'd say for that. StreamYard's being funny on my computer, but it's working on your laptop. So we'll keep that super chat up for a second while I get the chat on rolling. Did you have anybody specifically on defense you want to see? Because there's a lot of faces out there.
That's a tough call. I mean, all of a sudden, Bernard Converse jumps a pass and takes it for a pick six. Are you necessarily picking a corner in the pregame to be your standout performer? All it takes is a play like that, and that makes them the guy for the game. But I don't know.
Like I said, I think defense is not about individual performances. It's absolutely, positively about playing collectively as a unit. My laptop's loading in here. I'm going to get some more.
See the difference between Verizon and AT&T, folks?
At least you're not taking a shot on Apple.
I have Verizon. Preston's laptop is AT&T.
All right, we're back in. We're back. A lot of people say, "Wow, Mike, kicker." A lot of people have questions on kicker.
Man, that's
so do we.
Of course, look. And by the way, at the end of the night, you hope that you're not naming two or three more positions you're now scared about after seeing them.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Shouldn't LSU just be able to man up outside, stack the box, and stop the run? Or is it easier said than done? It's definitely.
Look, they had three running backs go over 100 yards last week. That's against Duquesne. I don't see that happening tonight. If they have success running the football, then you're going to downgrade LSU's defensive front that we all think, based on who these guys are, their measurables, their high school credentials. Then all of a sudden you start saying, man, but Florida State is going to want to run the football.
Yeah.
But if they can't run the football, they're in trouble, because I don't see them winning a football game having to throw it or having to come from behind, and because they're down multiple scores and trying to win a football game by throwing the football a lot.
Jamon Forbes wants Chris Hilton as a punt returner. Or a returner in general. Yeah, I mean, that'd be a great.
I want to see Chris Hilton 100% healthy, and I'd like to see him stay that way for a good period of time.
I'd also like to say if Malik Neighbors is just producing like we think he'll produce on offense, maybe we don't need him getting those touches.
You don't want to. No, I'm buffering. There it goes. I'll buffer for a second.
Yeah, go in and out of little signals here. Here's kind of another question regurgitated. Maybe we'll touch on it again here. Regardless of who starts, Mike and Preston, who does the number 2 quarterback get some play, and if so, how much? My answer depends. I mean, if Jaden Daniels goes out there and he has the hot hand, he's playing well, and it's a tight game, why would you?
Yeah, don't pull him.
Don't pull him. Got another super chat. Let's see. Joel Robinson.
Thanks, Joel.
Appreciate Super chat. I thank you. What style of offense are we going to see? Will we run to open up the passing game? What is Florida State's strength on defense? Okay, good questions. Brian Kelly wants to run a pro-style offense. He likes to use a lot of running backs. The last 5 seasons, he's had 3 running backs with 40 or more carries. So he likes to use that run to open up the passing game, but he also likes to incorporate a lot of easy dink and dunk flats passing game. That's
Is there any scenario where LSU comes out to open this season the way the LSU offense did to open the 2019 season, throwing the ball that much?
That would shock me because I haven't seen it in practice.
And is it going to bother you as an LSU fan out there if at the end of the night the ratio of run to pass is 60-40 run?
I don't see how we see that, Mike, especially with running back carries, because you've got one guy who hasn't been banged up. That's Noah Kane.
So what do you think the run-pass ratio is going to be at the end of the night?
50-50. I think we're going to see very close 50-50.
I think it's going to be 60.
Maybe if you throw in the Jade Daniel run designs, which I think we're going to see some.
Or if it's not 60-40, is it because the run game is not moving the team and they've got to throw it?
Yeah.
And then that's the worry.
Yeah.
But I think if you can win the football game and you're effective and you're 60-40 at the end of the night, I think you take that all day long.
Yeah. I just think that they're going to have to adjust their system a little bit from what they want to. Because the tight end depth isn't quite. Brian Kelly wants Georgia's tight end. God, did you see that freak show? 6'7", 6'8" tight end guy. That's with Brock Bowers and Arik Gilbert there. What Brian Kelly would do for that tight end room. But I think they're going to have to adjust a little bit. I think
LSU's about to have a tight end like that in a hurry.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt the way he's recruiting. And Mason Taylor.
Tavion Galloway, I've got a source up there in Ohio that's going to film him for me in the next few weeks, I think. He had a nice night the other night. I wonder, if the recruiting pressure on him is going to get ramped up. Because that's another one where I think LSU did a great job getting Tavion Galloway for the class of 24 committed. But I wonder, if Ohio State at some point, if he has a great season, if they come in and make it a bit of a race.
Yeah, no doubt. Strengths of Florida State on defense, it's their defensive line.
Defensive line.
Yeah, they got a couple guys who are, projected to be pretty high round draft picks. Yeah, definitely there. So has LSU's offensive line, are they able to handle Florida State's defensive line the way they've been able to handle LSU's defensive line? If so, looking good.
Who are going to be the first offensive lineman off the bench?
Off the bench. Oh man, hold on. You got a lot of good players. Trying to think. Tremont Shorts.
Yeah. Can we see Emory Jones?
I hope so.
I don't know.
I hope so because he's a good football player. Like I said, you've got your second team offensive line.
You don't rotate a lot of offensive linemen, but we'll see.
Yeah, you usually don't. So I don't know. I mean,
somebody comes off the field for a play or two because
the helmet pops off, or
who's going in?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see, man. I'll tell you what, he seems to really want that offensive line.
That's going to be very interesting. Like who rotates in?
That offensive line he's been rolling with for the last 2 weeks. He really wanted to get those guys in place and comfortable. So, we'll see Bradford. We'll see, Cam Wire at right tackle. We'll see Dellinger at center. We'll see Miles Frazier at left guard, and we'll see Will Frazier. How does Will Frazier handle his first actual spotlight as a true freshman? There's so few guys who can come out as true freshmen and dominate at left tackle. Is he one of them? He looks nasty.
Guys, hit the subscribe button and notification bell because we're going to go live and post game as soon as we get done with all of our work. We're going to be in a race to get the post game show going as soon as we can. And so hit the subscribe button, notification bell. As soon as we go live, you'll get an alert.
Let's see.
Anything else?
Y'all be safe in New Orleans.
Yeah,
we're gonna do our post game.
We're on the
hand grenades.
We're on the Causeway Bridge right now. I think we're making pretty good time.
Yeah. Probably going to wrap it up here in just a bit.
Yeah.
Rick Clote thinks it's going to be Tremont Shorts off the bench first. That's kind of what my first thought was.
Yeah.
Just talking about a highly experienced, highly coveted transfer portal guy. Someone else says Emory Jones. So basically, the exact two who we talked about.
Guys, y'all go subscribe to TigerBait. Try us out for $1, and then y'all get to participate in our live game thread on our TigerNet message board. We're up there during the game live messaging in that live thread, and got some good stuff from Caleb Jackson from the other day. Multiple recruiting updates last week from Casey Chisclair that you need to catch up on, and again, got some real good stuff on Trades coming tomorrow. East Feliciana, wide receiver for next year. That's going to be on the site tomorrow. Kelly's weekly luncheon was going to be on Tuesday. Then I think on Thursday said, no, we're actually going to end up doing it on Monday as always. And then yesterday we got word that no, it's back to being on Tuesday. So we'll have some post-game analysis. Brian Lazar's report card, which we've been doing for many years, great in each unit after tonight's game. And a lot more recruiting video coming your way from all the games we shot this week. And so I think was that it? We good?
That's it for me, man. I think we've talked about everything we care about to talk about, Ed and Oz. We appreciate y'all for watching. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell. I'll be on Tuesday night. I've got a very interesting guest lined up to preview the Southern matchup. And Mike will be there with Buddy on Wednesday.
All right, guys. See you on the other side.